Welcome back to the Diary of a Creator and part 3 on my creator story, 10,000 Lives in One. In the sunrise, baby's crawling on the floor. So I don't know about you guys, but that song, Everything Hallelujah by Justin Bieber, is speaking to my soul. I'm listening to it so much lately. I absolutely love it. So welcome to part 3 of this series. And I meant to record this last week in Peru before shifting into Chile, but there has been a lot going on. I don't know if some of you are feeling like or experiencing to where you're clearing things you thought were cleared, whether mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, with family, but then realize they were not cleared, or you've been faced with new experiences or new levels, so to speak, in this quote unquote game of life. Like not a game, but a game sometimes. So, in part 3, this is all about my transformation era. So, I feel like there's no accident that I'm walking through more transformation in this evolution, in this life we get to live in these versions of Katrina. So, in the transformation era, this is where everything shifted and has continued to shift. From the outside, it looked like I had it all: career, success, momentum, but inside, I was being called to literally transform everything. And on my Substack, Diary of a Creator, I also linked my Instagram post on this 4-part series. And you can also find all 4 parts on Katrina Julia Fit. So, with that being said, the shift that no one sees, so many times we talk about the overnight success, but the reality is nothing is overnight. And what we see, now on social media, a lot of times is much more than what we saw, say, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. And I feel like there's this evolution of creators like me, like Daniel Leslie, like others that are sharing more and more raw, real, vulnerable, instead of simply the highlight reel, like the raw and the real behind the reel. And especially with and there's no accident that I, came across Danielle Leslie's Confessions of a Broke Millionaire recently, because there's so much rawness and realness that I remember watching her as so many of those things were happening and thinking, oh, wow, like she's figured it all out. It's all aligned. It's on in flow. And I had no idea of what she was really walking through. And I love that she's sharing this super vulnerable series. And I feel like it called me to elevate and escalate to a whole new level with rawness and realness and different avenues, not only on the podcast or on the show or on Substack, on different, avenues, as I feel, my caterpillar going into a cocoon and then freeing itself to be a butterfly, step by step, not only online, but in real life even more, and then with family even more. It's like all these different levels of me are being broken apart. And literally in the last 3 days, I've cried more than I have the last 6 months. Like there's been such a release, so much healing, so many different things that I've been processing internally and externally and with others. So the shift no one sees, it's not always loud, it's internal, it's quiet, it's convicting, it's unavoidable. It's the shifts I've made from fear to faith, from pain to purpose, from misalignment to alignment, from self-hate to love, from corporate to calling. It's not a rebrand, it's not a relaunch or a launch. And often those are a byproduct of what's happened internally, or people make the mistake or have the confusion that all of that will solve the internal state, or that the money or the accolades or the external validation will solve all the internal. And I'm here to tell you, friends, because I've lived it. Like when I got to 6 figures in corporate, there were so many things left unsolved, unhealed, broken. Faith over fear. So when I moved to Atlanta originally in 2010, I found really what I felt like was my first home church as an adult. Yes, I had a home church as a child, being raised both Catholic, and my mom's Catholic. I was born in Poland, but then my dad doesn't believe in God yet. And so, growing up in a household like that, there was a huge dichotomy on both perspectives, massively, with two people I deeply love. And I believe that gives me a very unique perspective as I processed it, as I healed through it. Both the instability into the stability that's actually a gift, because it gives me a very huge capacity to understand and love all sides of me, all sides of my family, and all sides of the world. And when I came to Atlanta, that church also led to a beautiful friendship and relationship with a really good friend, Silvana, a really close relationship with the youth group. I volunteered for 3 years in a row following the same group of girls with Robin, who became a good friend, and one of the individuals I helped transformed with Herbalife and on the team and in the community, and building a really close relationship with God that also shifted on devaluing to purity. And for the first time in a really, really long time, I felt anchored. I felt loved. I felt accepted. Decisions became clear. Peace replaced pressure. I flowed into purpose, and everything started to really realign with the focus on faith, from fear to faith, and standards and identity. When I made the decision to choose purity before marriage, which if you would have told me years ago, or even when I made the decision in 2010 that I would be sharing this on my podcast, or on shows that I've shared, like with Tamara Andres or others, I would have told you you were batshit crazy. Because also, a lot of us were raised really in the masculine and show up tough and strong. But I've also recognized and realized vulnerability in sharing your story, and the things you've decided or used your voice for, or are standing for, holding for, are super powerful. Not from rules, not from religion, but from healing, from identity, from choosing me, from finally understanding my worth. It wasn't about a restriction, it was about alignment. And body transformation of releasing 55 plus pounds, keeping it off now, 10 plus years. What mattered more than the physical was the internal, the release of fear, shame, guilt, emotional weight, old identities. It wasn't just changing my body, it was becoming something new. And discipline created confidence, or clarity created confidence, stepping on stage not once from the boardrooms to bikinis, but 3 times already, fitness competitions, photo shoots, and seeing a version of myself I didn't recognize. From influence to income, from story to income. I started sharing my journey, not strategy, not funnel, not plan, just truth. And it grew my business 25 times on Facebook alone. And that's when I learned your story isn't extra, it's your power. With new rooms and new energy, I shifted environments into Herbalife, into high vibes community, growth-minded people. And because community creates and changes everything, especially when it's aligned authentically. And that led to creating fitness fuses with fashion in Atlanta. I partnered with Nike, Athleta, Art Institute, and giving back 10% to help end homelessness in Atlanta. This was the first time I created impact, influence, and income together for years. The last time I had done that was when I was in college, fully, and alignment being activated. I stopped performing so much, proving, people pleasing, and started aligning, creating, living on purpose, and the seeds of everything you see now. This wasn't the CREATEIT era yet, but I planted the seeds for it. Everything I do now started here. The truth about transformation is it isn't one thing. It's a series of aligned actions, aligned beliefs, aligned decisions, daily, quiet, consistent, pushing forward. And if you're in this season, keep going, even if it doesn't make sense yet, even when no one sees it yet, because what you're creating, it's bigger than anyone else can see. Where in your life are you being called to shift? Leave a review on the show and drop your handle so I can shout you out. And as always, friends and besties, remember, create, transform, and inspire, because you are born to.